Organize your daily info the Web 2.0 way today on Call for Help.
Hey, how are you? Good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. It's time for Call for Help. I'm Leo Laporte, your genial host. This is the show where we talk about tech. We explain how it works in plain English so everybody can understand it. Because, you know, personally, I think this stuff is really important. It's changing our world. It gives you and me and everybody else an opportunity to have a voice, to create neat new stuff. It's exciting. But you got to understand it. You got to kind of get an idea of what's going on, and that's what we do here. You join us every day for an hour. By 2 or 3 weeks, you'll be an expert. I promise you. You'll be the person people go to and say, "How does that work? What's that? You seem to be up on that. How do you get it? How does it?" And you'll say, "Oh, well, it's very simple. You know, I'll explain it all to you." This is episode 460, but who's counting? Ladies and gentlemen, my co-host today, the wonderful Callie Lewis from Geek Brief TV.
Hey, and you're absolutely right.
What's that?
About watching an hour for a couple weeks.
You just absorb it.
You absorb it.
I think a lot of times people look at it and at first they go, "I don't get it. I don't understand what they're talking about.
Right.
It's gobbledygook." But you know, by osmosis, it just kind of sucks.
Yeah, you delve in and you learn.
Yeah. Now you've been
That's
a
how
geek
I
your whole
learned.
life. No, come on. You started when you were 14. You had a website, right?
Yes.
So you've been a geek a long time.
Yes.
5 or 6 years at least.
Oh, come on, I'm older than that.
Just teasing you. Not much. Not much. So you're going to actually do something kind of fun. You're going to show people how to change their start page on their browser.
Yeah.
The first page you see when you load the
Got
browser.
some fun Ajaxy kind of sites that are good ways to just, it's more of an interactive way to have a start page, or just maybe not even your start page, but it's a good start page.
Well, I have
that
to
way
say,
you can get all your information at once.
for a long time, the #1 sites on the net were AOL and
Right.
Netscape, because people never changed their browser. It was just what they got, or
Right.
Microsoft Network, because that's what it came with. And I think more and more people are realizing, just because that's the first page that loads when you open your browser, you can change it very easily.
You can.
And there's some neat stuff out there. So
There
we'll look
is.
at
There's lots of good
fancy
stuff.
web pages you can create just for yourself. Speaking of creating things, Bill Jelen is here, Mr. Excel,
Yay.
with a really interesting thing, little teeny weeny tiny charts for your spreadsheet that can convey a lot of information in very little space. They're called sparklines. And Sean Carruthers has a review of the latest chips from Intel. These are called quad core. Means not 4 processors in one chip. 4 processors in one chip?
Whoa.
Whoa! He started up the thing earlier today.
Yeah.
I said, who brought a Ford truck in the studio? I mean, I'm not kidding. The fans were, but it calmed down. It's a little quieter. It's running right now, and it's not too loud, right? Yeah.
Wow,
It's not
running now?
Is it
I
running
turned it
now?
off.
Oh. We'll
We're
turn
like,
it on
wow,
later.
can't hear anything.
Anyway, it is pretty amazing what they can do now. Computers, who'd have thunk? Let's get our first call of the day on.
Absolutely. Dave is on the webcam from Whitby, Ontario.
Hello, David.
Hello,
How
Leo.
are you?
How are you?
Welcome to Call for Help. I'm very well. Say hello to Callie Lewis.
Hey.
Hello, Kelly. How are you?
Good, doing great.
Have you ever seen Geek Brief? You gotta watch it.
No, I haven't.
Fantastic. Geekbrief.tv, or go to podshow.com because it's on the Podshow Media Network. Ladies and gentlemen, Basil Cowart, who doesn't yet have a podcast, but I'm sure if he sticks around you and me, Callie, pretty soon he will. Hey, Basil, how are you today? Good. What can we do for you, David?
Well, I've got about 6 media players that I'm using all
6?
the time, and every time I want to update one, and that happens to be frequently,
Yeah.
it wants to be my default player.
Sure.
And
So
I
you
really
install
don't want
Windows
that.
Media Player, and all of a sudden everything plays in Windows Media Player. You install
Yeah.
Winamp, everything plays in Winamp. You install iTunes, everything plays in iTunes. Yeah, they fight, don't they?
Yes, and what I'd like to do is just remove all the file associations and let me select it.
Well, I would like to do that. That's a great idea. The problem is if you remove the file associations, Windows just goes, I don't know what to do. I mean, it may ask you, let's try. I'll tell you what, I've got a copy of Geek Brief here. Now, this is a QuickTime movie. So when I double click it right now, it's associated to Apple's QuickTime. So QuickTime will launch. The way that process works is actually kind of important to understand before we go any farther. The way a computer works is clicking a document doesn't tell a computer to do anything. Computers have to run applications to do anything, right? So what the computer does, the operating system, in this case Windows, but Mac works the same way, it looks at the extension, the .mov, the file name extension, and then it has a database where it looks up .movs. In fact, I can show you where that database is. And then that database says, oh, if somebody double clicks at .mov, open QuickTime, then open the MOV file. Here's where you'll find it. Open any Explorer window. Simple enough, double click My Computer. I've got My Documents clicked. Click Tools. And then it's kind of in a weird spot. Folder options, which you wouldn't expect it to be. In fact, that's really the wrong place to put it. You know this already, Dave, don't you? And file types. And these are the, quote, registered file types. And what this really is a database of file extensions and the programs to run. So, in fact, if we go down here to MOV, we'll see that if, where is MOV? Hello, MOV. And this is a process, by the way. There is MOV. It says QuickTime Movie. And in fact, down here under Details, it says Opens with QuickTime Player. So that's exactly what happened. Now, we can change that behavior. Let's do what you want to do. Let's disassociate it, right?
Okay.
Let's not associate it with anything. Here's how you do that. You go to Advanced instead of Change. See, Change gives you a list of potential programs.
Oh, I see.
And lets you choose a program. But click Advanced instead, and you'll see it's in bold. This choice, Open, that's the default. So it means this can be changed, by the way, and that's important. You could change it, for instance, to print or a lot of different actions. So that's what happens when you double click. It doesn't have to be open. But let's say right now, as it is, it's open. In fact, if I double click it, it says the action is open. What does it do? It launches QuickTime Player with this parameter, %1, which is the file name, and there's a lot of other stuff here. What if I just remove that? Yeah, remove that action. And now it says, well, there's another one, Edit with Go Live. You want that to be in there? No, I'm going to remove that. So now I have no actions. So QuickTime, I've eliminated, for the .mov file, I've eliminated all actions. And I'm going to close this. Now we go back here to our QuickTime Movie. And if I double click this, what's going to happen? Well, what you want to have happen is Windows say, well, what would you like to run this with?
Right.
Let's double click it and see what happens. Windows is taking its time. It's thinking. It's saying, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. It opened Go Live. I don't know why. I thought I told it not to do that. So we're going to have to remove that Go Live association. The truth is, there is no automatic, let's see what to do with this, unfortunately. Let me close Go Live. There could be.
The other option might be right-click, I guess.
Yeah, and then if you see right-click, you do have a choice of some files, and you could. That actually probably is the best way to do it. If you're willing to right-click, it'll show you the option. Boy, I wish Go Live hadn't launched. This is taking forever. Goodbye, Go Live. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Go away. Go away. Boy, is that a slow program. Remind me not to use Go Live. So you're saying right-click, and then you'll see an Open With, and then you do have a choice there. Now that choice is limited, but you can add other programs to it in the way I was showing you before by adding other associations.
Right.
That's fine. But what I like is your idea, where I double-click it and it gives me a little chooser.
Yeah.
What would have to happen there? Somebody would have to write a program, and I'm not sure somebody has it, but I haven't found anybody. Would have to write a program that is a chooser program, and then you'd associate it with the chooser program. So you say when it double clicks, run the chooser program, and then it would choose which file program to open that file with.
That'd be great. Well, there's
Wouldn't that be nice?
Some geeks out there.
Yeah, and this is one of the reasons it's kind of good to be a computer programmer, because that's the kind of thing you can do. Now, see, I thought I removed that. You know what? It might be that Go Live automatically added that. Let's see. Let's see. We can make a new action. Let's not make a new action. Let's just leave it. Okay, so there's nothing there. It's blank. I'm going to close. I bet you Go Live, since it was the last thing left over. Oh, good. This is what you're supposed to get. Windows cannot open this file. To open this file, Windows needs to know what program created it. Windows can go online to look it up automatically. By the way, if you've ever done that, never finds anything.
You never find it, no.
Never finds anything. You can select a program from a list, and that's going to basically give you that same dialogue that we had before, which gives you all the choices.
Right.
What would be, you're right, a geek, what should happen is some friendly geek, it wouldn't be a hard program to write, just write a little box like this, a little chooser that says, hey, here's the media players you have installed, which one would you like me to use?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But failing that, you actually answered your own question. Use the right click in the open with. That at least will give you all the options. To add something to that list, usually when something is installed, it will add itself to that list. But you can, if you can't add, if it's not on that list, then just do choose program, and then you can choose the programs from the list and add more programs to that list.
More programs, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
It chooses, as you can see, the recommended programs. And what you want to do is, let's say you want to make Photoshop be one of them. You just select it once and it'll add it to the recommended programs.
Excellent.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Dave. It's a great question. A challenge for the programmers out there. Write
Absolutely.
us a media player selection program. If it were well written, it would go when you first install it, look and find all the media players. You'd have a button that says refresh, so it could go look again and see what media players you have. It should show them all, and it should say, which media player do you want me to use to open this file? That would be useful. That would be good. Thank you, Dave.
All right. Have
Take
a good
care.
day.
Bye-bye. Hey, Excel users, stick around after the break. We're going to show you a few teeny-weeny tricks to minimize your chart size. It's amazing how much information you can get in a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet if you know the tricks. Bill Jelen, Mr. Excel, with some little teeny-weeny information right after this. Stay right here. Welcome back to Call for Help. You may think you know Excel. Ah, you don't know Excel. You got nothing on Bill Jelen anyway. He is Mr. Excel. I mean, that's a guy who knows Excel. Today, some amazing apps that'll help you create maximum impact by putting little teeny weeny mini charts in your spreadsheet. Mr. Excel is the author of this great book, Learn Excel from Mr. Excel, which I highly recommend to anybody who wants to know more about Excel. Hey, Mr. Excel.
Hey, Leo. How are you?
So you're talking about spark lines.
Spark lines.
Well, I don't even know what that is, but apparently that's a well-known term in accounting.
There's a professor up in New England named Edward Tufte.
Oh, yes.
Who writes the
Brilliant.
Yeah, best ways to display information visually. And the whole concept of a spark line is that you take a whole bunch of data and put it in the space of one word.
Wow.
One word, okay? And so his point is there that I can actually go through and see the resolution, see at least whether you're trending up or trending down.
It can
or
grasp
exactly
it very
what's
quickly.
going on.
So it's mini charts, basically.
Very many charts,
Yeah.
word-size charts. My example here today is I have 4 manufacturing lines, and on a typical dashboard, we might have one number. Like this is their quality for the month of December, 87%, 95%.
Hard to look at that number and really get the information.
What does it mean? What's the history? You don't know the history.
Right.
And so using an application, it's a free application that you can get actually from a company in Germany, SparkMaker. It's an add-in for Excel. We basically create equal sparkline. It's a new function, adds a new function to Excel where you can go back and show all the history, and there it is. There is a very...
That's actually a graph.
Yeah, that's a graph. So we can see that even though they're at 87%, they've actually improved
It's trending up.
vastly.
Oh, look at that.
yeah, so-
it's basically a graph that fits in a cell.
Basically, right. So line 4, they have some, they're going way up and way down. There's some systematic problem there. Line 1, who looks like they're doing the worst this month, they have actually increased dramatically over the past months. So these are spark lines. And then people took these concepts and said, what other small charts can we make? Here's an example of something called spark bars.
I like that. Look
It's
at
almost
that.
like the little power bars on your cell phone.
Right.
You can plot 12 months in the space of a
But you're
cell.
right. The mind really grasps that, and it's very efficient in terms of space. You don't have to, and not a lot of color, obviously not a lot of presentation information, but that's fine.
And it's actually better to be in one color. They have things where maybe the low point is in red and the high
Okay.
point is in green, so that way you can pick out, whether we're trending up or trending down. But these are all different examples of spark bars, spark lines,
And this is
spark
all
dots.
free?
The spark lines are free.
Yeah.
They have a version to create spark bars that's reasonably priced.
And it's a plug-in that just enhances Excel to make it possible.
Exactly.
And is it pretty easy to figure out how to use it? I mean, it looked like it was very simple.
It's one function, so equal spark lines or equal spark bars. Now, if you want to do the colors or put the number in or the red and the green, then you have to
fancy.
actually read help.
Okay.
But
Otherwise, you don't even have to
That's
read the
right.
help.
No, and they also have a nice thing. So the problem with this is, on my computer, I have the spark bars font. So it works on my
You
computer.
need the font.
But if I send it to someone else, it doesn't work. But they thought of that. They are brilliant. They have a little dialog box where you select the data, and then they actually embed a graphic.
They turn it into a picture.
Exactly. So that way you can send it to anyone else. Now, of course, the data's not live. If you change the underlying data, the picture doesn't change. But you can, if you're creating an executive dashboard or something like that, you can basically create a picture and just send that to everybody.
Isn't that, it's just fascinating. Edward Tufte is a brilliant guy, occasionally does lectures, and worth seeing if you can. He's written a classic book on display of information.
That's right. He has 4 books now.
Yeah.
Once I found the first book, I basically went out and bought everything the guy had.
Brilliant guy. And,
Yeah.
well, for somebody like you, this is really important because it's not merely about calculating numbers and presenting numbers. It's about giving the information. That's what you're really trying
And
to do.
Tufte, Excel 2007 has fantastic new charting, and Microsoft is going to hate that I say this, but everything new that they added adds nothing to the chart.
It's all about looks.
It's something he calls chart junk. It
Right.
just it impedes the message because it's adding glow and things like that. Doesn't actually make it any easier to understand the chart.
You can't get any more Spartan than this.
No, but
But it works.
Yes, and Tufte talks about how many data points can you get into a square inch or a square centimeter.
And more is better.
Yeah, that's right.
As long as it's intelligible.
Right, and I think this is intelligible. You have a row of these, and you're actually able to see, whether they're trending up, down. You get to see the history. It's so much better than one number.
We have the links to both Spark Lines and Spark Bars on our website,
Yes, that's
callforhelptv.com.
Right.
And of course, I highly recommend Bill Jellin's website, MrExcel.com. He does books. You can get a chapter a week free of Learn Excel from Mr. Excel.
Within a couple of weeks, we're going to give away the 5 millionth chapter. Is that amazing?
Unbelievable.
We should have some sort of prize.
No kidding.
Yeah.
5 million chapters. He also answers more than 10,000 questions a year for free on his website. And MrExcel.com has podcasts and screencasts now, so you can watch the tips. I mean, it is the ultimate Excel resource. If you use Excel for work or for play, you really have to go to MrExcel.com. Our show notes at callforhelptv.com. And now let's take a peek at our today's quiz question of the day. What was used to make background animations for Max Headroom? That goes back a few years. That's going to be a little hint there. How did they do those fancy graphics? Was it a Silicon Graphics workstation, a Cray supercomputer, a Commodore Amiga, or was it my old screensaver? Get to the website, give us the answer. We'll talk about it when Call for Help continues. Welcome back to Call for Help. I love those little teeny weeny charts. It's so cool. It's amazing how much information you could pack into a small amount. And yet you don't want to do too much because you could really go crazy with it,
You
right?
could, yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever worked a little bit in that kind of idea of presenting information in more efficient ways, things like that?
In Excel, no, I haven't spent too much time doing that. It looks great,
It's
and I'd love
neat.
to try it.
Yeah.
But I've typically just done the basics.
You don't
and,
have
and
to,
maybe a
'cause-
little bit more, but
For you, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So you just do 1,000 words just by being on the camera there. It's amazing. Let's get a caller on here.
okay. Charles is on the webcam from Pembroke, Ontario.
Hi, Charles. How are you? Welcome to Call for Help.
Hi, Leo.
What can we do for you today?
Well, I do a fair amount of computer help, I guess you could call it.
Good for you.
I'm sort of the computer guru in my area.
I love it.
And one of the things that would help me out a lot is if I could just call up somebody else's computer and work on it
Right.
from home.
Right.
Because some of the computers I work on are like 45 minutes away.
Yeah, so you wouldn't have to drive over. You know, I do that with my mom, and she's across the country.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not flying over to my mom to help her.
Yeah.
So, of course, Windows has built-in capability to this called remote desktop and remote assistance.
That's true, but I mean, like, the client has to have Pro, and most
That's
people
right.
that I deal with don't.
If they had Pro, they wouldn't need your help, would they?
That's right.
My machine seems to be frozen up here, or I would show you. There's another choice that is quite handy. Wake up, wake up. Well, that's working. Wake up. It's called Log Me In. Now, they'll still have to sign up for an account,
Okay.
but it's absolutely free. And I guess since you're giving them free tech support, they should go for that.
Well, yeah.
Right. Well, yeah. Go to logmein.com. I can't, but if I could, I would. It is absolutely free, and in a way it works is very cool. It has a central website that you both get into. So it avoids router issues and firewall issues. I use a commercial version of a program that's very similar called Go to My PC. But LogMeIn is Go to My PC is everywhere, and it's very high quality. That's for people who want to access their office computer remotely. But it costs costs money.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Yeah.
A lot of money, actually.
Well, it depends, but you're right. More than your clients are willing to pay, I'm sure.
Right.
Since they're not paying you, why would they? Why would they pay you to go? So LogMeIn is absolutely free, and it allows you basically to set up. They'll have to install it on their system, right? Because you're accessing their system, and it's very simple for them. It's just a one-button click. It's an ActiveX control, and then you'll surf to their system. You need to know their account information, and you'll be able to control it from your computer. It means you could set things up, you can access menus, and it's really handy because you could even train them. You could say, "Well, let me show you how to use this program."
Okay.
And they can watch you because they can see your mouse. It's kind of spooky moving on the screen. My mom says, "Oh, I just like to sit and watch you play with my computer." You're so smart. So it's kind of cool, and then you can say, all right, now you do it, and they can actually follow along with you. It's a really neat system. LogMeIn.com.
So they can control it as well at the same time.
Yeah, I believe so. The truth is, I use GoToMyPC. I haven't played with LogMeIn for the reason I have a GoToMyPC account, but I'm told it's almost identical in functionality. There are a few things you don't get because it's free, and really they want you to pay too. They have an upgrade to a paid version.
Right.
But the free version does probably everything that you'd want to do.
Well, that's fantastic.
Certainly worth a try.
Yes.
All right, Charles?
Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you for the call. Sorry I couldn't show you. Wham! My computer is stuck. Oh, I know what. It's been eating candy canes, leftover candy canes. No wonder. Bad computer. Coming up next, an Ajax homepage. What? Well, it's a great way to organize all your daily information, and it's a way to create a whole new homepage just for you. Callie Lewis shows us her top 3 choices as we continue right after this. You stay right here. Welcome back to Call for Help. You'll hear phrases from time to time like Web 2.0, Ajax. They're very popular right now. They're buzz phrases. You don't need to go crazy about it. Web 2.0 is kind of made distinctive by the fact that it's more interactive, it's more social. You get sites like Dig, where a variety of people vote on news stories, and that's what puts it on the front page. Ajax is a way to make sites more interactive, make them easier to use, to give them more powerful user interfaces. It really is, in a way, a reinvention of how the web works. Callie Lewis from GeekBrief.tv is here to show us some new start pages. You don't have to have Netscape.com on the front page of your...
You don't.
No.
You can have. I have 3 of my favorites. That they're home pages, like you said,
Right.
and you can do all sorts of different things.
You can
with
really
them.
customize them, which is kind of
That's
neat.
the whole point of Ajax, is that it's an interactive
very
situation, and
customizable,
you
yeah,
can do whatever you want with it.
So what is this here?
This first one is ProtoPage.
Oh yeah, I love this. This is from France.
Right, and you have, this one is more simple. It's, I started out with it actually when I first started to do interviews for Geek Brief. I actually was kind of nervous, and so because I'm not a talker, so I would put questions and answers and
So
just
you
sort
use
of
it
get my thoughts
as a
together.
notepad,
I used
kinda.
it as a notepad, but now I can use it as a homepage. It's not quite as involved as the other 2 I'll show you, but this one you can add widgets here. You just set up your account, and
free?
you can do it is free. You can do a web page, which is what I have here. I have my home, site that I can see if people have left comments very easily. And then you can do your news feeds and
Temperature, weather.
sticky notes, to-do lists.
Wow. I know couples that use this to put notes to each other on their proto pages.
It's a perfect way to do it.
Leave a note on a sticky page on your homepage.
And you
you
can
can both
even-
share the same homepage, so that's fine.
Exactly. And it's password protected, so it doesn't, you're not letting all your secrets out to the world. And this email inbox, you can set it up to check your mail.
Now you could drag these pieces around too, right? You can
Absolutely.
rearrange it. That's the Ajax goodness of it.
And you can, with ProtoPage, what I like is that you can hide things. So if you have so much on here that it gets kind of annoying, you can hide things so that when you scroll over, it drops down and you can use it. But otherwise, it's just out of your way.
That's one other thing that makes it kind of typical of Web 2.0 is really web-based applications. This is like something that would be running on your computer, except it's not. It's running on a web server.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the other one...
That's ProtoPage.
That's protopage.com.
Yep.
And the other one is Google IG.
This is what I use.
That's what you use?
I've gone
That's-
through a lot of PageFlakes, ProtoPage, NetVibes, and so forth, and I ended up with Google IG. It's simpler. It's not as pretty, but boy, it gets a lot of work done.
It
for me.
does. And, I find myself rotating.
Yeah.
I keep my accounts.
You don't have to stick with
and
one.
Yeah. I'm with to-do lists and stuff, I'm always trying to find the best way. And so I'm always playing out new stuff.
Well, I noticed you have enough stuff on your Google IG page. You actually have tabs at the top, so you can have
Yes, you can
different
add
content.
tabs.
Organize it.
By naming this tab and adding a tab, and there's your home. I have Sudoku down here.
Oh, wow.
Sudoku.
Do
I
you
always
like
say that
Sudoku?
backwards.
You like Sudoku?
I do.
It's fun, isn't it? It's
Don't
great for
play
your
it
brain.
too often, but it's a great
Really
game.
challenging, yeah.
And then
Calendar.
you can add stuff.
And that could be your Google Calendar. Oh, look, you can put
Exactly.
your Gmail on there, YouTube.
This has so many options. I've never even gotten through all of them.
Right.
Yeah,
me too. I usually get
simple
stuck on one of them and
Right.
play with it for a while. Games, all sorts of
Games,
stuff.
yeah, just everything you can imagine. Google
And you
videos.
can put any RSS feed. So, for instance, I
Right.
keep track of my website by putting the RSS feed on my homepage, and that way I'm sure I can see what other people are seeing when they look at the feed on my website.
Right.
Things like that. I put news up there. I see you have some news
Uh-huh.
up there. TechCrunch, so forth. Wow.
Driving directions, that way if I'm
That's
going
good.
because I always get lost.
Yeah, me too.
And the third one is PageFlakes, which you mentioned.
I like
And I
PageFlakes.
found out about this one from you.
This is brand
I like it.
version 2. They've really updated it, and isn't it nice?
I do like it.
Yeah.
It looks good, and then it has the interactive feel to it. Google IG, who knows why they named it that?
Yeah, that's a terrible name. Google IG.
It has a lot of stuff, but I like the look of PageFlakes better. It's
Google
just
has that
clearer.
Google design look, which is, not the most attractive. It's Google.
It's Google.
This
and
one's
I like
French, not ProtoPage. ProtoPage is British, I think. This one's from
Okay.
France, yeah.
and clock.
Can't remember, but I think
Here
so.
you can add as many cities as you want.
That's neat,
So
a world clock.
if you're trying to get in touch with somebody across the world, then you can do that easily. To-do list.
So you can see how this would really be a really useful kind of dashboard to your life, exactly customized with what you want.
Absolutely.
And then when you run your browser, that's what you see, the first thing you see.
Right.
And of course you can have a Google search or a Wikipedia search or whatever kind of searches you do frequently. You can have them there as well.
You can make it whatever you can imagine or whatever
Right.
suits your lifestyle
All right.
better,
Bookmarks
which is
to the
great.
sites that you go to a lot.
Yeah, these are my delicious bookmarks, and you can do regular
Oh, that's handy.
bookmarks.
Yeah.
And web search there, even though it's up here. And then here, you have just almost as many options as you do in Google IG. Here you get the kind of the most popular ones, and then you can view all 10 in the gallery. And that gives
You're making me want
all
to
of
go
your
back to my
options.
PageFlakes page. I've used this for a long time. NetVibes too I used for a long time.
There's
But then I went
43.
back to Google. 43 folders,
Yeah.
yep. Our friend Merlin Mann. So these are RSS feeds from various publishers that you can get their
Right.
content on your page.
Yeah, so it's just,
It's almost like your own daily paper. You could have the horoscopes
go.
there, you could have your articles, you could have sports scores, stock ticker, but also your calendar, your weather forecast. So it's really a customizable front page.
absolutely.
I
It's
really
very
like
useful.
it. So, which one do you use?
Right now I'm on PageFlakes.
Interesting.
Like I said, I rotate.
So you like that one?
I do like
That was a good
it.
suggestion. Good. All right.
And you also mentioned NetVibes.
NetVibes
which
is
was
very
another
good.
one.
There are well over 24 of these.
Oh yeah.
So
You just do a
it
search
goes
for them
on
and you can go on.
And I don't know how
try
they.
and stick to a couple.
I don't know how they plan to make money. 'Cause, I don't think any of these have ads. Google has ads maybe, but
Yeah. PageFlakes and ProtoPage don't.
No, I don't understand how they, what their plan is. But anyway, it's a nice service for now. Though it's one of the things that happened in the Web 1.0 boom bust was lots of free stuff.
Yeah.
And then the companies just went, but we're not making any money, and they went away. So enjoy it while it's free, I guess.
But you don't think that's going to happen again?
I don't know. They say we've learned. But I have to say, there's a lot of companies out there with business plans that make no sense at all, like these guys. I guess if they get a lot of eyeballs, they could put an ad up there.
What I'm seeing is, a lot of people are putting themselves out there and just trying to get eyeballs
Yep.
and get as many eyeballs as you can, and then you have something to
Some
go to the
options.
advertisers with, or
What am I saying? I mean,
charge.
you and I are both doing podcasts. It's not like we're making a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
But eventually, we hope both of us to have enough of an audience that we can make some money at
Exactly.
it, right? Yeah. No,
So
I
we're
guess.
right in there.
What am I saying? I'm another one of them. No, it is a little different, but there is a certain amount of, as Alan Greenspan said, irrational exuberance this time around as well. To learn more about Callie's picks, go to our website, callforhelptv.com, and
Absolutely.
try out some of these home pages for yourself. And I highly recommend her wonderful video podcast, geekbrief.tv on the Podshow Media Network. It's really, really fun. I mean, I can't start my day without a visit from Callie Lewis.
Oh, thank you.
Now let's take a look at what they're watching in the control room. I wonder what their start pages are. We'll be right back after this. Stay tuned.
This
Okay, you want to know something really embarrassing? Callie Lewis and I, she's helping me buy hair for my Second Life character. That is so embarrassing. But
Well,
your
you have-
hair bounced.
My hair bounces and it kind of flows with the wind.
It looks
and
like real hair.
It looks like real hair. It
Mine
moves.
just is like a helmet.
Yeah, yours is from when you initially set up,
Yeah.
which is just like flattened on there.
A helmet head. Kind of like the real thing, actually.
Well, I'm thinking we need to get you a full-on body that looks exactly like you.
Oh, let's not. Can we get a full-on body that looks exactly like Mike? No, let's not do that either. Anyway, that's one of the advantages. We're talking Second Life, which is this virtual reality world, and one of the advantages, you don't have to have a body that looks like yours.
Right?
Thank goodness. Hey, let's get another caller on the air.
Absolutely. We have Henry from Chatsworth, California on the line.
Hello, Henry. How are you today?
Hey, all right. How you doing, Leo?
I'm very well. What can we do for you?
I have a MacBook Pro,
Oh, good.
and I want to install a Linux system on it as a virtual machine.
Yes, a good idea.
And I have desktop parallel too. So before I do it, I need some help, I guess.
Well, I think, as I remember, our good friend Sean Carruthers is running Linux on his Parallels. Is that right?
I am.
Which Linux are you using, Sean?
I'm using Kubuntu on this
But
one.
it doesn't matter. I think many of the Linuxes will work. So how do you do it? You run Parallels, and then when you create a new virtual machine, you have to choose Linux as opposed to Windows, right?
Right, so that it gives you a Linux option, and then you have to choose the distribution of Linux that you're going to use.
Oh, so it gives you some choices.
Right, so it gives you SUSE, it gives you a few others, and then you have ones that are more generic, like Other Linux,
Right.
kernel 2.4 and 2.6. and then
Probably a
another
good
one.
idea to choose one that's listed there, though, because all the drivers will be built in and it'll work. Let's take a look. So you're using Kubuntu, which is actually a very nice Linux. Which one did you want to use, Henry? Did you have a choice? Or?
No, I really like to get a recommendation.
Okay.
Because I understand
think-
with the Linux,
Oh.
you may need technical support.
Well,
But
here's
I
the beauty
wanna
of
do
this.
without-
I don't think you will, because you're using it in a virtual machine, and if you use one of the ones they recommend, you won't need much support because the virtual machine devices are all supported by that Linux. So it will work out of the box. All your network connectivity will work, your CD-ROM, your DVD-ROM, everything will work. I don't know if the camera will work built into the iBook. Probably not, but that would be something that you could work on, maybe with some help from some experts. I like, if you've used Windows a lot, are you a Windows user mostly or a Mac user mostly?
No, I'm a Mac user.
Mac user.
Yeah.
The problem with Ubuntu is it's really designed for Windows users. I mean, it looks a lot like Windows, but I think it's close enough even to a Mac that you won't have too much trouble. I personally like Ubuntu a lot. I think it's a very good first Linux. SUSE is also very good. The nice thing about Ubuntu is it's free, and they'll send you a disk. All you have to do is go to ubuntu.com, and they have a free disk mailer. They don't even pay the postage. Millionaire Mark Shuttleworth has donated the money to make this possible. So all you have to do is go to Ship It on the Ubuntu site. This is ubuntu.com. Click Ship It, and they'll give them the address. It takes a few weeks, but they'll actually mail you Ubuntu. The new Ubuntu is just out now, by the way, version 6.1.0. So
Okay.
you can get the
Okay.
you can get the newest one. You could download it, and if you have a fast connection, it won't take that long. But I would start with Ubuntu.
I can download that to my Mac?
Yep.
Or
Yep.
really?
Yep. And what
Okay.
you'll get, it's actually kind of cool. You'll get an ISO file. And what you
right.
do is you tell Parallels, when you first configure Parallels, you say, when you choose a CD or a DVD, you can say, use the physical CD or DVD or attach it to this ISO file.
Yeah,
and what
ISO
it'll
file.
look like is that ISO file is a mounted CD in the CD drawer. And so you choose the ISO that you downloaded from Ubuntu, say that's my CD, and then when you start the Parallels environment, when it boots up, in effect, it'll see that CD and it'll actually run the installer for Ubuntu. It could not be easier.
Oh, okay. Sounds easy.
So the truth is, if you've got a fast enough connection, why wait for the disk? Download
Well,
it and
of
install
course
it.
I got DSL.
Oh, well, you're set then. And by the way, you don't have to stick with Ubuntu. You can make as many as you have hard drive space for. So try SUSE, try Ubuntu, try a bunch of Linuxes. You can do anything you want. But I would start with Ubuntu since it specifically supports it, and it happens there's a brand new copy just came out right now.
Okay,
All right.
I'll try that. Oh, I also understand that there's an update on the desktop Parallel.
Yeah, make sure you have the latest version.
Okay.
It'll do that for you automatically. If you go into the options of Parallels and check, actually, I think it's under the Help menu or the About menu, it says check for updates, and you can check manually for updates, but it will also check weekly, and it will download that for you automatically. You certainly should
All right.
update it. Recently, they've done some big improvements to Parallels, so it's a lot faster and more efficient. Okay,
Sounds
Henry?
good.
Hey,
Yeah.
thanks for the call. You know, a
Okay,
virtual
thank you.
machine is kind of like, Parallels is kind of like a virtual life and Second Life. You can try out other body types, try out other operating systems. There's something there, you know? Mike is here with our free file today. Remember the days when ping pong was the hottest game on the market? Remember the Chinese ping pong team would come in here? Mike Lee, I don't think he was even born when that happened, but he's reliving the glory days of ping pong with our free file. Wait a minute, this isn't ping pong, this is Pong.
This is Pong, but you can also play in multiple modes, so it's like ping pong. So you can actually play like
Against
as
other players.
other players and stuff like that.
This is Breakout right now.
This is
kinda.
Breakout, but you can
This is
also
free?
over the internet you can play live other people, so it
Other
can be
people.
like ping pong.
So it's Pong.
So it's Pong right now,
Pong.
but you can I can't unfortunately connect to it via. But it's really fun. It's a great way to waste some time at work or at home. I don't waste it at work personally, but you know, I mean, just for the people who want to waste it, maybe people who use like Mr. Excel's chart formulas easily, and they have like
They
2
have
hours
extra
to
time.
kill because
And
they got
told the boss, well, it's going to take you all day,
Well-
so that now you have some time to play Pong or
Exactly,
Breakout.
exactly.
What is this called?
It's called Pong Pong. That's all it is.
Pong Pong. Not ping pong,
No, Pong Pong.
Pong Pong.
Yeah.
And it is absolutely free, and it is our. Wait, it says ping pong there. You sure it's Pong Pong?
Yeah, Pong Pong.
Ping pong.
Oh, sorry, ping pong. Yeah, sorry, my mistake. Yeah, I know.
You know what? You've been playing too
Yeah.
much of whatever this is called.
It's called Second Life.
It's called ping pong.
No, I'm sure I want to call it Pong Pong. This is my name for it, Pong Pong. I'm standing by.
Our free file of the day. If you want more free files, just go to our website, callforhelptv.com. We've got a lot of them. If you've got a suggestion for Mike in between Pong Pong games,
Yeah.
can
well,
they email you?
Yeah, certainly, but I've already heard of Pong Pong. So if you have other ideas, you can email me, mike@callforhelptv.com.
Pong Pong.
Yeah. Pong Pong. I think that's a good name, actually. I'm going to read it.
No, it's too late. You called it Pong Pong.
Pong Pong, right there.
It's ping pong. Go imagine this, my friends. You've just gotten one of the hot new computers, Intel's Core 2 Duo processor on board. But then what happens? Intel turns around and introduces a four-way,
A quad?
four-core quad processor. They just slow down, Intel. Sean Carruthers will take a look at, they just came out, the brand new quad cores from Intel, but I feel like I'm in a science fiction story. But first, let's take our tech trivia question of the day. Second time around on this one. What was used to make background animations for Max Headroom? Do you remember? Silicon Graphics, Cray supercomputer, Commodore Amiga, or my old screensaver? Which is pretty cool, but it's no Pong Pong. Get to the website, give us the answer. We'll talk about it when Call for Help continues. Welcome back to Call for Help. Before the break, we asked you what you remember Max Headroom? What was used to make that kind of shifting, rotating background? I'm pretty sure it was an Amiga, Commodore Amiga.
This is going to drop in.
Yes, it was. He was Max Headroom. And that was like the first time I think we'd seen a really computer animated graphics on television. It was kind of a wild, weird show. I remember he had the kind of stuff going on behind him. And originally I think it was a commercial for soda pop, wasn't it? It was like a Coke.
They used him for pop, but he was originally a VJ on British
It was
television.
a VJ. then did commercials, and then they made a TV show, short-lived because it was so bad, TV show about Max Headroom. So if you remember that.
Oddly enough, people thought that he was generated by computer as well, but it wasn't. It was just plastic
It was
makeup.
Matt Frewer with plastic makeup. It was very weird. It seems like yesterday that Intel released, in fact, I think it was, its dual-core 2 processors. They started with dual-core early in the year. Then they came out with Core 2, and everybody went, oh, I don't have the latest. Well, guess what? You don't have the latest, even if you've got a Core 2, because now they have a new processor. It's quad-core. 4 chips in 1 die. Unbelievable. We've already seen how powerful 2 cores are. Are 4 cores better than 2? We'll find out by asking Sean Carruthers, our lab rat from labrats.tv. You actually have a core. Look at the size of that thing.
Yeah, it's down underneath.
It's
the,
kind of double
here.
wide. And this is the new Kentsfield chip.
Right.
It's really a server or workstation chip. It's not designed for the desktop.
You can use it on the desktop. It is theoretically swappable with the other Core 2 processors that you can use on the desktop. It's very expensive though. It's about $1,200. So you're not
Per
going
chip.
per chip, right? So you're not going to be just running out to the store and putting up pocket change for this thing.
No, but it was of interest to me that you can do the swap, because when I bought a Mac Pro, which is using the dual cores, I had 2 dual core Kentsfield, to find out that I could, well, down the road, maybe in a year or 2, if I want to update them, just pop in a new chip and double the speed. That's pretty
Right.
cool, right? So how much faster are these?
It depends what you're doing.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing that
It'd be hard to use all 8 processors in a dual quad machine.
Right. It's hard to use all 4 processors inside a single one as well.
Really?
Now, I should say one thing. It's kind of a cheat that Intel did on this one. It's actually 2 Core 2s on 1 processor.
Oh, interesting.
So it is the same physical chip, but it's not splitting it up into 2 different processors, but
Got
they
it.
are together.
Got it. Okay. So you would need a multi-core aware operating system to take advantage
Right.
of this. That's XP Professional, Vista Professional, one of the high-end operating systems.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I did was I used some of my regular benchmark tests to figure out what the capabilities of the chip were. And like you said, you need something that's not only operating system aware, but you need something that's application aware.
Oh, yeah, because otherwise the applications won't tax it either.
Right. In a
Yeah.
lot of cases, when we were testing Core 2, even the Pentium D, any of the dual core processors, the applications would run on one core or the other. So you
Not
really
both.
right. So you need an application that is capable of understanding that it can run multi-threaded.
Okay.
So one of the big ones is Photoshop.
Mm-hmm.
One of the games. People think that maybe they would get this for games, but games
No,
in
not
general
yet.
don't know. There are a number of games that are starting to understand.
And the game designers are
multi-threading.
saying, we're going to do dual and quad core games. We're going to take advantage of this, but just not yet.
Right. So I thought I'd give you a quick look at what this looks like on the screen here. We do have the task manager up here, and you can see it's got all 4 cores sitting here.
Wild, just seeing that.
And right now you've got 4 cores just sitting there idling.
Not doing nothing.
Right, but we'll click this in.
Let's get 'em
It's
busy.
going to refresh. This is Sandra, process arithmetic. Now Sandra is good because it understands core, so it will understand the general.
It'll try to use all 4.
Right, it'll try to use all 4, so it takes a few seconds for it to actually react to this, but when you'll see all 4 of them have spiked up.
This is one of the things that people immediately are going to say is, well, wait a minute, I thought everything would just happen like lightning. Well, it's not always the processor that you're waiting for. Sometimes it's memory or hard drive. There are other things in the system that affect the speed, too.
Yeah, and
We're
this-
sitting here waiting for this program to get around to running.
So you can see it's running at 100% now, and all 4 cores are actually doing something.
But not much.
Not much. I mean, with this one, it's so processor intensive that the rest of the system has to catch up,
Oh, I
including the task manager.
Oh, that's good. So there's a little peak there on all of the processors. In fact, we did get to 100% on all 4 of them.
Right, but when you're doing other things, when you're just sort of,
Scrolling
doing that,
windows and
it's
stuff.
maybe only spiking one or the other. It's not really doing much here.
You'd have to work hard to get all 4 processors to work.
Now I'm going to flip over to my benchmark results here because they're fairly interesting and telling.
Sysmark, which is the benchmark that we like to use from it used to be Mad Onion. They're now called.
Yeah, it's actually Bapco that does this one.
Oh, this is Bapco's,
Bapco
okay.
and Mad Onion did a little bit of a collaboration for a while.
Okay. Do they use multi-core? Are they multi-core aware?
It is multi-threaded in that different applications that are running at the same time
Will use.
Right, but
Okay.
in general, Sysmark is not a synthetic. It'll actually use real-world applications like Adobe. It'll use 3D
So if
Studio.
they're not multi-core aware, they're not going to see any difference.
Exactly.
In fact, that's sure what it looks like right there.
Yeah, there's very little difference. Now I should say
Jeez,
that
no kidding.
the 2 processors I use.
Especially since I spent $1,200 for
Right.
these processors.
The top end of the dual core ones, it was running at 2.93 on both
Okay.
cores. The quad core is running at 2.66, which is a little bit less, but it's running on 4. So you'd expect a little bit of a spike there just because it's running on twice as many
Right.
cores. And
In fact, it's running slower in two of the tests.
in some cases, it is running slower. PC Mark, you did get a little bit of a bump in the CPU itself. That's to be expected. But the memory score and the overall, it's not as big a deal. I mean, the memory went down a little bit on that one.
Why would it go down?
You know, that one I'm not 100% sure of.
Maybe not a well-designed system that you're running on.
Right, now Sandro, which is what we were just showing you a few seconds ago, you can actually start to see the advantage because it's actually going through all 4 cores at the same time. So when you're running CPU arithmetic on here,
But this is synthetic. This
it's
is
synthetic.
not real world.
right, so this shows you the potential of the processor if
Right.
you have
If you had an application that
applications.
was really CPU intensive and knew how to use them, and
Right, and same with the multimedia test here. Again, you see a pretty huge spike.
you're getting about what you'd expect, which is almost twice as fast.
Right. Now, Adobe Creative Suite, which is one of the ones that is multi-threading aware, you notice that radial blur, it cut the time nearly in half.
Wow.
So that was one thing. That was one of the filters that you can apply to photographs.
But wait a minute, these other two are slower.
The other two, it doesn't take advantage of it. So not everything inside the suite will take advantage of it.
and they're slower because maybe the hard drive wasn't as fast on the second machine or
Right.
whatever.
And the same thing, LiveTrace is a processor intensive process, but it only runs on one of the cores. So not everything across CS2 is multi-coreware, so you may not be getting that much of a bump.
It sounds like these multiple core systems are somewhat of a hype
In a way, at this point,
for most users.
until they get the applications, definitely. And here's another thing. One of the big advantages of using the Core 2, which we showed off in our previous segment, was
more
that
efficient.
was that it was more efficient. And now with adding those other 2 cores into this, it
You're
sort of
using a
spikes
lot of
again.
power, yeah.
Right. There's not as much of a difference when the system is idle because none of the cores are doing anything. But as soon as you start doing something, it shoots up fairly
That means
substantially.
not only more power consumption, but more heat
More heat.
generated. And so you have
Exactly.
to have better cooling systems and so forth.
Yeah,
as well.
and you said earlier this one sounded like a truck starting up, or at
can
least
hear
an
those
airplane.
fans, yep.
Yeah, when it's cooling at full bang, it's definitely a noisy machine.
And I
again.
know that on some of these quad-core machines, they're starting to use water cooling. Again, we're back
Mm-hmm.
to the bad old days where we have really hot chips. You know, there's a lot of demand from end users faster and faster and faster. But remember, just because you have a faster chip doesn't mean you have a faster computer. That in many
No.
cases like this, it's waiting for the hard drive, or the applications aren't smart enough to take advantage of it.
I can definitely see the potential in something like this down the road as soon as everything is multi-threaded, but at this point there's no real need to go there.
Sean Carruthers is our resident lab rat. He's the co-host of the Lab Rats video podcast, labrats.tv, with our great friend Andy Walker. For more on our quad-core tests, head over to the show notes. We've got graphs, numbers, specs, and recommendations at callforhelptv.com. A final word, and my new hair, right after this. Stay right here. Well, once again, we've learned something, which is that the computer industry will often promote something that nobody needs yet or is not ready yet. But it's good to know, and we'll talk about the numbers over the next year and more. And there will come a time, I'm sure, when applications will take advantage of this, and you'll want all that power, and your second life will be 3D virtual reality, and you'll need quad cores. But for now, I think dual core is more than enough for anybody. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having
We
me.
just love Callie, and encourage you to visit her podcast, geekbrief.tv. We encourage you to visit our website, callforhelptv.com, and fill out that form and ask a question. Remember, if you've got a problem with your personal confuser,
Don't whine.
don't moan,
Don't yell.
just call for help.